Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Paint Table. This is my weekly show where you see what I got done, what I've been working on, and what is coming up. So this week I finished some more stuff for Infinity and some more Drowned Earth miniatures that I used for a big multiplayer This Is Not a Test game that we recorded this week between me, Jay, and Tom. They got a little weird wasteland. We did some Mutant Year Zero stuff, and it was a whole lot of fun and a whole lot of crazy. I also did a bunch of rebasing, so that kind of preoccupied a bunch of my time, magnetizing, drilling out, and then rebasing my entire TAC army for Infinity, and then got some new guys put together to do my Week 2 add-on to my Highlander army, my Caledonians for Infinity, for the league I'm running here in Niagara, as well as some additional things for my TAC that were just sitting in bits and I never painted that I want to get done now. So I'll show you what I've been working on and what is coming up. So here's the Drowned Earth models I painted. The majority of them are Wayfarers. One is a Bondsman. And I can't remember the Drowned Earth names right now. I can only remember the new names I gave them for This Is Not a Test. So this is Jay Blue over here with the bird wings. Tango, the lizard lady, and then Nero with the big giant axe, the big ape, and then finally Bad Bar, which is the big elephant man here that I've got. So it mostly finishes off my Wayfarers as well for... or Wayfinders, sorry, for Drowned Earth, which means that I got a new faction to try out against Owen and Mike, which is pretty cool. And they're just some of my favorite, like, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic animal monster miniatures. It was just a joy to paint them. They're so much fun to paint. And if you're looking for them, of course, for any post-apocalyptic games or to try the Drowned Earth, you can check them out on the website. The store has all this stuff filled right now. This is all stuff currently in production. And then over here, I finished my last 3 models for my 100-point league list for the ITS Season 10 League for Niagara here that I'm running. We had our first night last night. Actually, it was great. We had 8 people show up, play some games. They lived, they laughed, they loved. I think half of them were new players, which is great. Half of them are some faces you'll probably know from old videos and stuff. Jordan was there, of course. Owen was there. Leland was there, and Chase was there. I think have all been in videos with me, and Jay too, actually, Jason. But a bunch of new players as well, which was pretty great. So that new faces hopefully for your Infinity games. And there are 7 more weeks to go. So you'll see my add-ons for that as well. And then I painted some new TAC stuff. I painted 2 Irmandinos with chain rifles, who are just great little specialists for TAC. And I also painted a Spec Ops miniature, which I'm using as a Frontevic, which is the new sort of like battalion, the assault battalion linkable guys with a Type 2 rifle. He's a perfect miniature for a guy with Type 2 rifle, mimetism, kind of like semi-elite Kazakh. And I'm pretty jazzed about him. I've tried him a couple games now, he's pretty great. And then back here you can see all the rebasing I did. So all of my TAC list miniatures are now on these great Gamers Grass pre-finished bases, which I of course also magnetized. So they're on my army box tray, like all my fiddly Infinity stuff. This army box tray got filled up pretty fast actually, and they're gonna have to share a shelf actually with the Caledonians, which is nice because they're all the same faction actually. So it's either it'll end up being my Ariadna tray basically with the Caledonians and the Kazakhs all sharing a side. So that's been handy, and of course these bases are all waiting for further weeks of Caledonians. That'll be going up to the 300 points ish. Try and guess from the bases what's going to be my list. It's tough. You'll see. But yeah, no, it goes to 120 next week. So let's look at what I'm working on. Bits and bobs for Infinity. This is mostly just my unpainted pile stuff for TAC. So I've got an Antipode pack, which I can have 2, which is pretty super sweet. I might actually try and find the old one, even though the models aren't as nice as these models. I have a fondness for old miniatures. I'm really thinking about doing a series with the Hobby Pie and doing that, like, and because this is a good example of like the Hobby Pie is a collector wants to have kind of one of everything, and I think that that's something to talk about. Anyway, I'm digressing. I got the Colonel over here, those wee beady eyes, Colonel Yevgeny Voronin. He's gonna have to go on a custom base because Gamers Grass doesn't actually make a 55 mil base. They make 50 mil bases. So what I'll probably do is just customize his base to look like the Gamers Grass ones, which won't be too hard, and then just magnetize it. But he's the size 4 Colonel that can join link teams and have a Type 2 boarding shotgun, so he's pretty rad. And then the new Vet Kazakh HMG. I have a Vet Kazakh HMG, but what I'll probably end up doing is using it as because it's a really old one, I'll probably end up using it as the Mark 12 profile. And then using this as the actual HMG because it's way bigger and beefier and stuff as well. And he needs to get painted. So he's just on a temp base while it's funny because the base he came with is like super miscast. It's a good thing I'm sticking him on this base over here. And then because this guy's got, this is the Kazakh Doctor, who unfortunately is not as good as the 112. I don't know why. I really wish he could link. Like, I don't know why he doesn't have Wildcard. and be able to just join fire teams, because it would make more sense than the 1-1-2 having like a Fronovic fire team thing. But anyway, I digress. He's got the bag on the ground here, so he didn't really fit with the bases, so I just made him a base and magnetized it. And I'll paint him up to match once again. And then this is my week 2 and week 3 add-ons for Caledonia. I got 2 more, what is it, the Galwegians, the assault regiment guys with chain rifles. So these 2 fellows right here. I have a paramedic volunteer, he'll just be a regular volunteer times 2, and an SAS with assault pistol and chain rifle. Or other profiles. He's the generic everybody SAS. And then some bases magnetized and ready to go for them as well. So week 2 is this, and then week 3 adds him in and goes to 150. And then week 4 we go to full lists. So that's when Will shows up. Will shows up and says, "Hey, you Galwegians, behave." And I think we do Will Wallace and a Cameronian. And that takes us all the way up to the 200 point mark when we're playing for games. Because basically when the league happens, the first 3 weeks. Yeah, the first 3 weeks are on like the little mats that you get in the star sets. And they're 100, 120, 150 points. And at 200 points, you move to a 4-foot board and you're playing with full rules. Because you're not even using lieutenants, hacking, or like the terrain rules and command tokens yet when you start off, because it's just to teach new players and stuff. So we're doing the full league thing for ITS 10. When we hit 200, I actually get a lieutenant. So that's when I'm going to actually paint Will. If people are wondering why I don't have Will Wallace in my crazy Caledonian list, yeah, it's because it's pointless. There's no lieutenant. But we'll add him in then. And there's my last couple wayfinders here that need to get painted up for me to have the full collection basically done. And I'm probably going to try and get them done next week so I can play some more The Drowned Earth, which would be pretty rad. They didn't get painted this time around because they're humans. They're too humany, so for a mutant campaign, I wanted to have all the crazy mutant animals and stuff like that, so I didn't do them first. And then I painted up, I got built some more dwarves for my Lord of the Rings army. And this is, of course, the King's Champion and Floy Stonehand. And I'll be painting them up for next week, hopefully playing some more games against Owen, who's been painting more Rohirrim. Some heroes like, I think, Theoden, Eowyn, and all the new, the bigger dudes, so you can have more than 2 warbands, which he's pretty excited about. And I found one of these, which is the old Lord of the Rings Ruin. I don't have a lot of Lord of the Rings specific terrain because they don't make a lot of Lord of the Rings specific terrain. There's just really the cottages now from Lake Town for the Hobbit, and they don't make sense kind of everywhere. They only kind of make sense in Lake Town. So I was kind of jazzed I found these. Just nice scatter terrain for playing on a 4-foot board. And I'll probably throw them on an MDF base and put some trees and stuff on them too. So there's some stuff that's coming up. So there you go, another on the paint table done. About 10 models this week, of course, with lots of rebasing and stuff keeping me busy too, and lots of things coming up in the future. So we'll see you next week for another one of these. Till next time, I'm Ash. Now for gaming. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Death Ray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.